This computer
Got it.
is recording already. So smile, smile, smile is recording already, okay? And
Great.
then while we are going through the five senses or tan matras as are seen in the yoga tradition or Ayurveda tradition, basically because last time we kind of start exploring the journey of the yogi, which is food as medicine. Going into the idea of that when whatever we put in our mouth is exactly what how our body is going to be. There is another other thing than that. Think about when you were, in the womb of your mother. Your mother was providing you, and then that's how the body was basically built. And then as soon as they cut the umbilical cord, then we start just having um, this intaking of food, and then over time, this is how we develop our body. So we explore it in a very fast way because this is a meditation seminar. But the idea is to touch these topics so you start thinking about these ideas of the yoga tradition or the yoga knowledge. But then it's not just the food that goes in because and that's why today we are talking about the five senses because yes we put the food and we can use food as medicine. I love that idea, right? Food as medicine. And Ayurveda uses food as medicine. Ayurveda declares or state that all our diseases start in our intestines. And it makes a lot of sense because our body is what we eat, and the first place that really all of this start being processed in order to develop our body are our intestines. So it makes sense that the diseases can start right there. But I don't want to deep into that. I want to explain why now in this seminar we are talking about the five senses, because then what else is what we are just intaking? Well, we're intaking a lot of information, and how that information goes through, all that information goes through the five senses. Period. There is nothing else than our five senses in order to process information. But this affects us in many different places, or this has an impact, I would say, to put it better, in many different from many different angles. And that's why today we are going to try to understand a little bit the five senses. Ayurveda also states something that's very interesting in order to give this last idea some sense. Ayurveda says that whatever goes through our nose, through our ears, and through our eyes affects the mind. And whatever goes through our mouth and through our skin affects the body. So then we develop the second knowledge or understanding, which is the inner pharmacy. Because through these five senses, as we can use food as medicine, through these five senses, we can start triggering the inner pharmacy. How we trigger the inner pharmacy? Well, nourishing ourselves through the five senses. And these are things that we do, or we understand very clearly. If you suddenly start listening to AC/DC, I assume that you know the rock and roll band, then probably 10 minutes later you are like this. So music affects you immediately, affect us immediately, right? Now, if we start listening to the music that I play in my yoga classes, which is a relaxation music, is chosen by years of teaching and saying, okay, this music can goes well into this type of class or so on, then you probably are going to be affected. And it's a scientific reason behind how sound affects the brain, because the brain and the sound both vibrate the same way. The brain waves and the sound waves are the same. That's why sound is so important and affects us so much. I don't know how sensitive are you to sound. I assume that you are. Sound for me is something that is really affecting me constantly. And as soon as I go into a silent place, it's sort of like I can feel like everything goes down like this. So, and that's the main concept. Why the five senses? Well, that's the main concept, because the five senses are the five gateways through which we are going to process information. 75% of the information we process through our eyes. That's why we close our eyes to meditate, because then is the moment in which you start just stopping all this information that is coming from outside and start redirecting your senses inward. Remember that pratyahara, the first step towards the practice of meditation, remember the 4 steps, right? Pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. The first step towards the practice of meditation is pratyahara. Pratyahara literally means the fasting of the senses. So we want to understand the 5 senses in order to be able to redirect this attention inward, in order to use all that information, all that power in the inner universe, instead to just attending what's going on, or listening to what's going on around us. Make any sense? So that's the idea of pratyahara, and that's why the 5 senses are so important in the yoga tradition. So in order to set this or set the tone for this seminar, we're going to go fast. I'm going to give you we are going to do some exercises. I'm going to show a PowerPoint. We're not going to go deep into the PowerPoint, but I would like to show you some slides so you can understand some concepts that I consider are very important for you to have a glimpse of what is this about the 5 senses. But let's start with this exercise I would like to practice with you. I think that I practiced with some of you this already, but let's start with this exercise. So sit comfortably wherever you are and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, the first thing that you want to do is to relax yourself and feel your body in a sitting position, the areas of your body in touch with the chair or cushion or whatever you are seated on, and relax yourself with that. Relax your shoulders, relax your face, relax your chest. Connect with your entire body from the tip of your toes to the crown of your head, and really let go. Take the time. Then take a moment to shift your attention towards your breathing and connect with your breathing. That will help you to continue this awareness and this embracing of awareness. And then I'm going to guide you through the 5 senses, reading some sentences. Sound. Imagine the ringing of a church bell. Imagine the buzzing of a mosquito in your ear. Imagine the roar of an ocean wave crashing against the shore. Touch. Imagine the feel of a fine cashmere sweater. Imagine the softness of a baby's skin. Imagine drops of rain falling on your face during a summer shower. Sight. Imagine a sunset over a calm ocean. Imagine a fireworks display. Imagine the face of your mother. Taste. Imagine biting into a luscious, fresh strawberry. Imagine a spoonful of rich chocolate ice cream. Imagine a pungent jalapeno pepper. Smell. Imagine the smell of the rich earth after a spring rain. Imagine the fragrance of blooming lilacs. Imagine the aroma of a bakery. When you feel ready, open your eyes. You know, when you read the great yogis, they all say, I am not in the world, and the world is in me. And this explains what I was trying to explain when I am talking about pratyahara and what we are perceiving, because we believe that these things are out there, but in reality, we are perceiving this in the screen of our awareness. Makes sense? Whatever is happening out there, in reality, is not happening out there, it's happening here. And you have the impression there because I assume that you were able to go through most of these images, isn't it? Some of them much more intense, some of them are maybe not very related, but immediately all these things start happening. Yes, you're going to tell me, well, but this is memory. I understand, and it's true. It's a part of our mind that in yoga, we call it the first of the three layers of the mind that is the repository field in which we put all what we perceive. So immediately you can go there, right? But where was that thought before I just say the word? You see what I mean? So you want to, if I am asking you right now, what is it that you have for dinner yesterday night? Can you come up with? I have ravioli, butternut ravioli. So where was that thought before I asked the question? Make any sense? So we go there, and then we just pick up, depending on the trigger. My question is a trigger. I am asking you a question, and you, who knows why, want to answer me. And then want to say, oh yeah, yesterday I was having fish and potatoes or whatever you got. Makes sense? Or pizza or a vegetarian meal or a glass of wine. So all this is very into the yoga information. And I want to talk about this food as medicine and the five senses of the inner pharmacy, because this is very, very root into the yoga tradition, because it's the beginning of understanding that if we are able to awaken these tammatras, as they call it, these five senses, in a more subtle way, we're going to be able to redirect our attention inward, and we're going to be able to start understanding subtle sounds and subtle smells and subtle perceptions that we have within. Make sense? Of course, because we were trained for, in my case, 64 years to look outside, then all these five senses, the only thing that they do is to look outside. But then when you start practicing meditation, you start redirecting this attention within. And these five senses can work as well as they work outside, inside. And that's the main idea of Pratyahara. And that's why I'm talking about the five senses. So I'm going to share in a fast way, because we don't have so much time to go through this deeper, because this takes hours and it's Ayurveda knowledge. But I would like to show you some slides, if you may, of, let me share it, and then let me start from here and see if I can start. Play. So you can see it completely. Continue to share. Yes, continue to share. Can you see it there? Perfect. Let me see. So the inner pharmacy, the concept, right? The inner pharmacy. How we are going to use these five senses? Well, those are the five organs of the senses. Today I'm going to see to explore the subtle seats of the senses too. But ears, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose are the five senses, right? The five organs of the senses. Sensory impressions are how we experience the world. Sensory impressions influence hormones and other chemicals in our body. Favor experiences that leads to balance and promote well-being, as I was saying. Of course, you can go and drink some margaritas and listen to AC/DC if you like AC/DC, but you want to lead to balance. So maybe tonight you go and drink some margaritas and listen to AC/DC, and then you take a good rest, and tomorrow you just chill a little bit in order to balance all the excitement you won yesterday. Then you keep balancing all these things. So let's start with this. Three energies, according to Ayurveda, that create the universe: prana, jyoti, and prema. Again, I'm not going to go into this very in a deeper, because this is cosmology and it takes a lot of time, but just bear with me. So these three energies, according to Ayurveda, create the universe. This is prakriti, materialized. Energy, light, and cohesion. Prana means energy, jyoti, light, and prema, cohesion. So energy is seen as this element air. Light is seen as this element fire. And cohesion is seen as, or prema is seen as this element water. Those are the elements that somehow represent energy, light, and cohesion: air, fire, and water. Make sense? Perfect. So the three doshas. Some of you know this, but if you don't know this, these are metabolic principles. Those are how Ayurveda sees all these concepts. And Vata, the first metabolic principle, is made of space and air. Those are the elements that make this metabolic principle called Vata. Pitta is made by fire and water. Fire and water are the elements that represent this metabolic principle, Pitta. And water and earth are representing the metabolic principle of Kapha. Those are the three doshas. It's a very difficult way to explain what dosha means, but we can translate it as metabolic principle. Put it somehow in a very practical way. How this is helping me? Well, the universe, when you were born, somehow give you the blueprint. So you are going to have some Vata, some Pitta, and some Kapha within you, for sure, because you're going to have some space and air, fire and water and air in your body. No? And I will explain that to you. Now, if you have more Vata than Pitta and Kapha, you are going to be more light, more kind of, mobile, right? Now, if you have more Pitta than Vata and Kapha, you are going to be more fiery, more penetrating. And if you have more Kapha than Pitta and Vata, then you are going to be a little bit more, I would say, solid, more strong, because it's water and air, the elements that represent that metabolic principle. But again, you're going to have all of it because we all have a space in our body and we all have air. Air is seen as movement. I will explain that later on. Fire is seen as this sort of metabolism or transformation. No fire per se, nobody having fire within, but you are having some sort of fire in your stomach. When you eat Mexican or Indian food and you just eat a lot, then you feel like, I am burning. It's a burning sensation in your stomach. Well, that's how fire acts. And the same happens with Kapha. You know, if you are a solid person, if you have a strong frame, well, that's how it represents, for example, the metabolic principle of Kapha. But I'm going to continue because I can't stay here so much. And this is something that I would like to share with you. So space and air, as I say, create the metabolic principle called Vata, or that's the definition. And then fire and water is represented by Pitta, and water and earth represent Kapha. Those are the sort of qualias of these principles. Vata, dry, mobile; cold, light, changeable; subtle, rough, quick; Pitta, hot, sharp, light, intense, moist, penetrating, acidic; Kapha, heavy, cold, oily, sweet, firm, slow, smooth, sticky. Those are the qualities of these elements. And then this is how this is all related to the five senses. When we see, space, air, fire, water, and air, it sounds like a fairy tale. It's like, okay, the five elements, yes. But if you see the five elements on the qualities of these five elements, pure potential is a space. Why? Because without a space, nothing material could be possible. Zero chances. Nothing can materialize. So space is pure potential. That's what a space represents. Air represents movement. Simple. This is what air represents, is the quality of air. What air does? Air moves. How air is represented in your body? Well, the blood is moving in your body. the energetic impulses of the nervous system is moving in your body. All your cells in your body are moving at the speed of light. That's movement, that's air. Metabolism is fire. And metabolism is transformation. And this is very important. I explained this in a few times, but there is a big difference between change and transformation. Transformation is something that doesn't have a comeback, right? So change, yes. I have this glass in here, and I can place it in here, and then I change it back to my hand. So change. This is change. It's changing. Diego is changing position. Got crazy and is changing position. Perfect. Now, if transformation is different, no, right? If I cook a brownie, I never cook a brownie in my life, but if I cook a brownie, I put eggs, chocolate, and water. You just put it on the oven, and then when you cook it, it transforms. And then when you open fire, transform it through the oven. And then when you open the brownie, there is no eggs, there is no chocolate, and there is no water. It's called brownie. That's transformation. That's what fire does. And then water put things together. Why? Water is what the body uses in order to protect the body. You know, all our joints are full of water. All the brain is covered by water. There is a lot of water in our entire body, right? So water is what put things together. And earth is a structure. This is earth. This is earth. Structure, solidity. We need that. Now, space is connected to sound. Air is connected to touch. Fire is connected to sight. Water is connected to taste. And air is connected to smell. So there is a direct relationship between the 5 elements and the five senses. Make any sense? All right. So any questions? And can I keep moving forward?
Sure.
All right. So then they talk about balancing things that you can do with this. Okay, all of that is a theoretic explanation. Okay, what we can do with this? Okay, well, Ayurveda says this is very fast. I am going very simple. But Ayurveda say, well, nature sounds are healing you. And you know that. You go to a creek and you stay on the creek, and then 5 minutes later, you are like, oh, yeah, I love this. Mantras are beautiful sounds of healing. Music can be healing. Chakra sounds, we use the chakra sounds. Those are the chakra sounds. Om, no, lam, bam, ram, yam, ham, sham, om. Those are the 7 sounds that we can use in order to embrace the sounds within our body, our 7 chakras. Mm-hmm. You know, the 7 chakras, but right there, it is telling you what it represents: grounding, sexuality, intention and desire, love and compassion, expression, intuition, consciousness. And then it's the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the creativity chakra, and the root chakra. Makes sense? Or creation chakra, I would say, no creativity. And those are the 7 chakras, and these are the sounds of the chakras, and these are very important because you can heal them. You can heal your body. You can embrace your Kundalini system through the repetition of these sounds. There are minor chakras. Doesn't make so much sense to go there, but yeah, there are much more than 7 chakras. There are minor chakras, and there are much more than minor chakras too. And those is a little list of other chakras. Now, that sound. Now, how we can balance in ourselves through touch? Well, what about hugs? How do you feel when someone hugs you in a loving way? That's very important. This is one of the things that I did the most in jail. You know, in jail, people in jail is not being touched. Of course, there is a big, let's put it, I don't know, yeah, about touching, of course, in jail. But then even the, you know, every person that is surrounding them is using these gloves, you know, these latex gloves in order just to protect themselves. So one of the things that I did when I worked in jail was to give them a hug. And then you receive really that information, right? And the skin is a very sensitive portal of our inner pharmacy, and you can tell. And there is a lot of things that can be done. You can detoxify tissues and calm the mind and enhance immunity. Just doing yourself a massage. This is something that I do every day. Every day I just do my mini abhyanga or half abhyanga or whatever in my head and in my feet. I use my feet a lot because I am most of the time barefoot. I mean, I spend many hours of my day barefoot, so my feet are constantly, challenging. And then I use oil in order to protect my feet, and I use oil to protect my face and my head. It's a daily massage. Mostly, let's say that 1 or twice a week, I do the daily massage in my entire body. If you are interested, we can have a conversation about that. It's very simple. It's done with oil that you can eat, because and not oil that you use to fry. It has to be not refined oil, because you want to use anything that you put in your skin, according to Ayurveda, should be something that you can eat. It makes a lot of sense too, because whatever you put in your skin is going in. Why you going to put a chemical in your skin that is going to go in if you can put it in your mouth? So massage is a very important action that you can take in order to balance in yourself through touch. Acupressure, tapping, reflexology, marmotherapy. This is a map of the organs of the body in the bottom of your feet. Why you don't start just kind of exploring a little bit and check, for example, I do chair yoga classes, and then I constantly, in the chair yoga classes, I do reflexology. I ask my students to touch their feet. I asked first them if they wash their feet that day, but then after,
Right.
after I say, please touch them lovingly, in a loving way. And then you see, when you are doing some sort of massage on your foot, you start feeling that, oh, here it hurts more than here. And then that may be related to an organ in your body that needs some sort of touch, that needs some sort of cleansing, or needs some sort of working. Tapping, I don't know if you know what tapping is, but you just do with the tip of your fingers in your face. Acupressure is what I'm talking about, or reflexology. Reflexology is much more, it's a science behind, it's a lot of, and marmotherapy, there are a lot of marma points in our body that can be touched and somehow create healing. Just to share with you, when something goes wrong in me, the first thing that I try to do is to heal it myself. When I see that I can heal it myself, then I go to Dr. Katz, who is a very smart doctor which works on acupuncture, and I am just trying to heal it through Dr. Katz. And then if things are not working well, I visit maybe a physician, because I feel that I need to keep moving forward in trying to get a solution. So those are what I was saying. You see, it's very simple. If you want to balance Vata, which is light and mobile and whatever, you need to use heavier heating oils, because Vata is cold and thin. So you want to use something that calm down. The same with Pitta. If you want to calm down Pitta, you use cooling, soothing oils, because Pitta is fire. So you're not going to put more fire in there. You want to calm down. And if you are going to balance Kapha, you need to use light and warming oils, because Kapha is solid, it's heavy, it's strong. So you need something light, something warming to balance it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I will send you this PowerPoint, so you don't need to take so much notes, but it's fine if you take notes. But don't worry about the basic information, but it's going to be there. And then balancing with sight. I remember always walking with my, at that moment, fiancé. We were not married, I think, or maybe we were married. Actually, it was our honeymoon. Yes, actually, it was our honeymoon, and we were walking on the Brazil, and it's called Florianopolis, a town that we were walking in. We were walking on the beach. That was our honeymoon. then we were walking on the beach, and then I remember telling her, oh, I would love to live in a city that have an ocean. I remember perfectly walking, holding her hand, walking like these two guys there and telling this, oh my God, how cool would be live in a city that has an ocean. I barely go to the ocean now. Maybe twice a summer, or maybe 3 times every summer. Okay, we have right there healing place. Just staying there in front of the ocean will heal you. I remember working with my mates of the rehab center in Passages, Ventura, and I remember taking them out of the center and walking with them in a walking meditation, but that was an excuse. Walking to the ocean, just sit them in front of the ocean and say, stay here. Maybe this can heal you a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yes, connecting with nature will heal us, and the ocean is a powerful place. And then we have, mandalas and chantras. Look at this one, how powerful that is. Okay, you have one on the back right there too. Right? I am surrounded by those guys, but this is all mathematics. It's done by the Fibonacci sequence. It's so powerful. If you really focus your attention on that chantra, you just are going to start a journey. So I recommend you to do some visual meditations. Put a chantra in front of you and just go there and see what's going on. There are many ways to explore meditation. The golden ratio of the Fibonacci sequence is this, right? The Fibonacci sequence is, the pyramid of Giza and the Parthenon were made on this sequence, and the sequence is based on putting together the previous numbers. So 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 2 is 3, 2 + 3 is 5, 3 + 5 is 8. That's the Fibonacci sequence. All the chantras and mandalas are made under this sequence as the great architectures, buildings like, the Pyramid of Giza or the Parthenon. Balancing with color, the same concept, right? If you want to balance Vata, you want to go mild and shade and earthy tones and blue and brown tones. If you want to cool down Pitta, you want to use cool, soft colors such as blues, greens, and white. If you want to balance Kapha, you need to embrace some movement there, because per se Kapha is strong. So you need to bring bright, bold colors, vivid shapes, and reds and oranges. So this is how Ayurveda somehow work on the five senses. It's very simple and very powerful. And then we use the six tastes. This is super important on food. We didn't go to that, but Ayurveda is all the structure of food in these six tastes. So they represent a lot, and I can go there now. Now think about the emotional side of it. The word rasa is the Ayurvedic word for taste, which also means emotion or mood. And see how interesting is this list. Taste, sweet. Those are the 6 Ayurvedic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. When they are balanced, you're nurturing, you're stimulating, you're earthy, you're passionate, you're disciplined, you're witty. Makes sense? Sweet, nurturing; sour, stimulating; salty, earthy; pungent, passionate; bitter, disciplined; astringent, witty. When they are unbalanced, then you go into cloying, caustic, hedonistic, hostile, resentful, cynical. They represent this full range of emotions also. The 6 tastes are very important. And the smell. We all know how powerful is the smell, how smelling just something, you can go in less than a second. Connecting with, I don't know, I still remember, for example, the smell of my Abuela Josefa kitchen and house, how clean she was, and how amazing was all that space in that house, and that smell. And I still remember it. I just close my eyes and can go there immediately. So smell is a very powerful way to heal. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into this, but it's the same. You're going to have this information. If you go to Vata, you want floral, fruity, warm, sweet, and sour, Pitta, cooling and sweet, and Kapha, stimulating, spicy, and aromatic. And then they talk about laughter, but that's another thing and for another time. All right, so let me stop the sharing. Any questions about this? I lost. Perfect. Let me stop the sharing. Why I can? Interesting. Continue share. Stop sharing. Did I stop sharing?
No.
I did not. Okay. Share. Share. And I stop sharing. Now I stop?
Right.
Yeah?
Yep. Stopped. Yeah.
Good. So any questions regarding the five senses and how they can be used? A very interesting way to developing the inner pharmacy. That's the concept. More than understanding this, like, what did he say about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and what did he say about this and that and that? Understanding that these are five entry doors. These are five gateways that you want to really start working on those. Really start working on those and realize how powerful they can be. How much they can change your day. Because in the end, this is what it is what is it that I'm going to do today? It's not tomorrow, it's not yesterday. Period. It's not tomorrow, it's not yesterday. What is it that I'm going to do today? First thing that I do when I wake up in the morning, not always, but maybe sounds too arrogant, but first thing that I would do if I would be aware constantly is to choose joy instead to choose disagreement. Because every moment, every day, you can choose. You have a list of 100 things that can make you feel like there's a list that you have in front of you. Oh, this is not happening. This is wrong. This is so bad. And then you have a list of many things that can be very good for you. Now, think about this way. And it's not denial, because immediately I can even hear the voices, not your voices, the voices in general. People, oh, that's denial. You don't read the news. Yeah, no, I don't. And it's not denial. It's a choice. It's a choice. We every day have the choice. I can choose. I'm going to have a good day, and I'm going to have excuse my French, shitty day. Period. That's a decision. Then you don't handle the outcome. Maybe the day ends horrible, which many times it happens. You have your best decision. You wake up with a big smile, and then your partner immediately, slap your face and say, "Ooh, whatever," and then you get like, "Oh," and then the day starts. That can happen and happens to all of us, and it's fine. But at least let's start in the right path and see what's going on. That's one thing. Second thing, all what we create, all this narrative that we created. Nobody created for us. Nobody. This is something that we create. We received all this information, and based upon this information, we develop some sort of narrative. I would say that's black, and I would say that's yellow, and that's green, and whatever. And we already create this narrative, and then we already are fixated with that. And we all know that, because most of us, we are very fixated in our own scenario. And this is how life is, and this is how things are, and this is who I am, and this is how high I can go and how low I can go, and whatever. All of this is all created in here. It doesn't exist anywhere else than here. This could be seen as a problem, or this could be seen as an opportunity. I prefer to see it as an opportunity. Yes, it's a problem, but it's an opportunity. And the opportunity is very simple. If all what happened was created by me, then I don't have to call anyone to change it. I don't have to call the plumber and say, hey, can you fix this? And then they say, no, sorry, or I charge you $2,000. Or I'm going and I don't go. Tomorrow, no, call me in a month. No, no. You fix it or you change it because you create it. And that's a big opportunity we all have. And that's why the five senses are so important, because somehow we want to change that narrative. And that narrative is made of what? Of the information we receive. So if we work on the five senses, kind of refining the information we are receiving, surrendering ourselves with a different type of information, all that is going to really work on us in a completely different way. And that's how important the five senses are. And that's why yogis pay so much attention to the five senses, because they are basically the triggers of the inner pharmacy. So you have within you the possibility to open up different remedies that can be triggered simply by looking to a yantra or connecting with that particular sound or creating some sort of aromatic environment around you. And then these things start triggering within you. And then you start getting a little bit connected more with your inner self. Any questions? Because I would like to end this with a meditation. Any questions?
No, I felt that was really complete
Yes.
information. I've heard it before, but I liked the way you outlined it. So it was perfect.
Thank you so much. I love I love to hear that. I try my best to do it simple and the best let's put it simple and direct.
Yeah, no, it was great. Even with your European accent.
My British accent.
It's,
I tell you that one student that didn't know me so well, I said the British accent, and then she came and then she looked at me and said, "Where you were born?" Like she may suspect that I was born in England or something.
Oh.
No, no, it was a joke, I say.
Yeah, no, we know it's a joke.
I know that you know, but she wasn't sure. She wanted to make sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so funny. I was looking at her and I was saying, I was born in Argentina. Very out. Very brownie.
Good, thank you.
Okay, let's close our eyes. And as you close your eyes, connect a little bit with what is surrounding you. Starting with the sounds. What is it that you can hear that is surrounding you at this moment? Little vibrations, little sounds. It's endless. It never ends. Silence doesn't exist because it's a vibration universe. And now shift your attention towards your skin. What is your skin perceiving at this moment? Maybe the heat of the summer, maybe your clothing, maybe the surface of the chair, couch in which you are seated, maybe some breezes. Connect. Now shift your attention towards your eyes and see what is it that you can see, even having your eyes softly closed. What is it that you can see? Now shift your attention towards your tongue and mouth and connect with the tastes you're having there. You maybe eat dinner before attending this seminar. You maybe drink a cup of coffee, chew a candy, took a cookie, drink a cup of tea. Connect with the taste. And then shift your attention towards your nose and connect with the aromas of your home or the place in which you are right now. Now, slowly shift your attention towards your heart and establish yourself within your heart. And as you develop this awareness and you establish yourself there, begin the repetition of your primordial sound, if you have some, in connection with your heart. And if you don't have the primordial sound, repeat the mantra moksha, 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 which means liberation, freedom. It's one of the 7 Mahavakyas. So continue with your eyes softly closed, repeating your mantra. I'll watch the time, so you may continue meditating until I ask you to stop. Stop the repetition of your mantra. Continue with your eyes softly closed. And when you feel ready, then gently open your eyes. So thank you for being part of this seminar today. I'm going to send this PowerPoint and video out hopefully tonight, because if not, I won't be able to send it until the end of the month. So I have to do it tonight. And then everyone is going to receive it. Thank you so much. I don't know if you have any questions. I would be more than happy to answer.
Are you leaving on your trip tomorrow?
I am going out tomorrow.
And I've forgotten where you're going, Diego.
I am working in Biarritz, and then let me turn the recording off.
Oh, yes.
There's the recording off.